Dactyloscopy. Criminalistic, the application of the principle of various science as it pertains in solving problems in connection with the administration of justice. Dr. Hans Gross, he is known as the father of modern criminalistic. Law of multiplicity of evidence. The greater the number of similarities and dissimilarities, the greater the probability for the conclusion to be correct. Comparison. Use of standard specimen evidence under question can be compared in order to effect identification. Exclusion. Two or more persons have to be identified and all but one is not yet identified. Tattoo marks, method adopted by tribes during ancient times, signifying the clan and family. Scarification, means of identification by cutting or wounding some parts of the body that forms scars. Portrait parley, person is being identified through memory and describe the features and put into sketch. Anthropometry, measurement of several structures of the human body. BC 200, in China, the first detail of using handprint identification was discovered during the Qin dynasty. Law, which means snail. Key, which means winnowing basket. And then Nehemiah grew. He described the ridges and furrows of the hand and feet. Marcelo Malpihi, a layer of skin was named after him, Malpihi layer, which is approximately 1.8 millimeters thick. Sir William J. Herschel printed the palm of natives as to avoid impersonation and as a substitute to signature. Henry Faulds advocated the use of fingerprints in the detection of crime. Sir Francis Galton, credited with being the first scientist of friction skin identification. Sir Edward Richard Henry, the father of fingerprints. Thomas Bewick uses engravings of his own fingerprints to identify books he published. Huck and Bose, Hindu police officers who helped Henry in attaining his goals. One Vucetich developed his own system of classification, which was officially adopted in Argentina and is used today in most Spanish-speaking countries. 1903, New York State prison system began the first systematic use of fingerprints in the U.S. for criminals. 1907, U.S. Navy began using fingerprints. 1908, U.S. Marine Corps started using fingerprints. 1924, an act of Congress established the Identification Division of the NBI. 1946, the introduction of automated fingerprint identification system. 2015, largest automated fingerprint identification system repository in America is operated by the Homeland Security, U.S. Dactyloscopy is the practical application of the science of fingerprints. Dactylography, scientific study of fingerprints as means of identification. Dactylomancy, scientific study of fingerprints for the purpose of identification. Dermatoglyphics deals with the study of skin patterns. Chiroscopy, it studies the prints of the palm of the hand. And William Herschel is considered as father of chiroscopy. Podoscopy deals with the study of the footprints. Poroscopy deals with the study of the arrangement of the sweat pores. Individuality, no two persons have the same fingerprint. Consistency or permanency states that the friction ridge, once fully developed, its arrangement will remain the same throughout the human life. Infallibility, that fingerprints cannot be easily forged. Fingerprint, it is an impression designed by the first joint of the fingers and thumb on smooth surface through the medium of ink, sweat, or any substance capable of producing visibility. Phalange is the skeletal finger covered with friction skin. Basal or proximal, it is located at the base of the finger nearest the palm. Middle phalange, the next and above the basal bone. Terminal phalange, the particular bone covered with friction skin and located at the tip of the finger. Friction skin is an epidermal hairless skin, ridged, the elevated or heel-like structure, the black lines with tiny white dots. Furrows, the depressed canal-like structure, the white space between ridges. Epidermis, the outermost layer of the skin. Dermis, the innermost layer of the skin. Ridge destruction, damage in the friction skin. The arc 5%, the whorl 35%, and the loop is 60%, that is equal to 100%. Next one, arc. Plain arc, a type of fingerprint pattern in which ridge flow from one side to the other with a slight raise in the center. Tented arc is type of pattern having an angle of 90 degrees or less. Ulnar loop, downward slant from the thumb towards the little finger or ulnar bone. Downward slant is from the little finger toward the thumb or the radial bone. Plain whorl, at least one circulating ridge is touched or crossed by an imaginary line from delta to delta. Central pocket loop, no circulating ridge is touching by the imaginary line from delta to delta. Ridge dot, or also known as island ridge formation in a form of a dot or period. Converging ridge, two ridges that meet in a certain point. Diverging ridge, two ridges that spread apart. Enclosure or lake ridge, a single ridge that divides into two and meets on a certain point to form another single ridge. Ending ridge, it refers to an abrupt end. Type lines is a diverging ridge that tends to surround the pattern. Pattern area is surrounded by the type lines and where the delta, core, ridge, and pattern are located. Recurving ridge, a single ridge that curves back from where it started. Recurving ridge. Bridge, a connection ridge between parallel line running ridges, usually in right angle. The delta or the outer terminus, found at the center or near the center of the diverging type lens. The core, inner terminus, or the heart, found at the center or imaginary line from delta to core. Ridge tracing, number of intervening ridge between the tracing ridge at the right delta. Blocking, the process of writing below each pattern the corresponding symbol of the fingerprint pattern. Tapos, classification, the method of obtaining a formula for a set of fingerprints whereby it may be located in the filing cabinet. Classification formula, it is a numerical description of a set of fingerprints which is composed of figures and letters written above the horizontal line. Filing or filling, the process of locating the proper place in fingerprint file. Sequencing means the placing of a group of classified sets into their correct filing order. Macrodactyly, enlargement of fingerprints. Polydactyly, having more than usual number of fingers. Brachdactyl, the fingers are abnormally short. Syndactyl, wherein two fingers are joined or fused together. Ectodactyly is the absence of one or more fingers in a hand. Latent prints are those prints that are hidden or concealed, which are usually left accidentally on the crime scene. Invisible prints, these prints created through sweat or perspiration. Smudge prints, prints created due to the sliding motion of the finger. Fragmentary prints, prints that shows iodine into the latent print surface. Nihedrin method, best method applied in developing latent prints in a paper surface. Iodine dusting method, same procedure as that of a dusting method but uses an iodine powder. Laser method, modern way of developing latent prints.